Milankovitch cycles explain the cause of global warming as natural. This scientist says we are not the culprit behind the global warming. Global news has been ringing the alarm bells for global warming, which has been showing its effects more and more in the last decade. Unlike 20 years ago, everyone is now aware of global warming and the upcoming 2030 threshold. The Industrial Revolution and its brutal use to maximize since WW2 are said to be the culprit. What if a scientist tells otherwise? Yeah, there is such a person. He talks about the Milankovitch cycles and explains global warming and climate change with his theory as a natural cause of events. The Earth has been going through these cycles long before industrialization, and they're the ones to blame for climate change, not us. The name of the cycles come from its originator, Milutin Milankovitch, a Serbian mathematician, astronomer, climatologist, geophysicist, civil engineer and popularizer of science. Milankovitch gave two fundamental contributions to global science. The first contribution is the canon of the Earth's insolation, which characterizes the climates of all the planets of the solar system. The second contribution is the explanation of Earth's long-term climate changes caused by changes in the position of the Earth in comparison to the Sun, now known as Milankovitch cycles. This partly explained the ice ages occurring in the geological past of the Earth, as well as the climate changes on the Earth which can be expected in the future. The Milankovitch cycles are changes in the Earth's orbit that affect the amount of sunlight our planet receives. The three main changes are in the Earth's eccentricity, axial tilt, and precession. Milankovitch cycles explain the cause of global warming as natural, not human-made. Milutin Milankovitch might be true, so let S take a look at what he is saying. The three main changes that Milankovitch focused on were the Earth's eccentricity, axial tilt, and precession. Eccentricity is the shape of the Earth's orbit around the Sun. It varies from being more circular to more elliptical over a period of 100,000 years. Axial tilt is the angle at which the Earth's axis is tilted away from or towards the Sun. It varies between 22.1 and 24.5 degrees over a 41,000-year period. Precession is the wobbling of the Earth's axis. It affects the timing of when the Earth is closest to or farthest from the Sun during its orbit. Precession occurs over a period of 26,000 years. These three variations cause changes in the amount of sunlight that hits different parts of the Earth. When there is more sunlight hitting an area, it will be warmer. When there is less sunlight, it will be cooler. Milankovitch cycles are responsible for ice ages and interglacial periods. An ice age occurs when the Earth's axial tilt is at its maximum angle away from the Sun. This causes less sunlight to hit the Earth, which leads to colder temperatures and glaciers. An interglacial period is when the Earth's axial tilt is at its maximum angle toward the Sun. This causes more sunlight to hit the Earth, which leads to warmer temperatures and melting glaciers. The last ice age ended about 11,700 years ago. This means that we are currently in an interglacial period. The Milankovitch cycles explain why this is happening. The Earth's orbit around the Sun is not perfectly circular. It is elliptical, meaning that sometimes the Earth is closer to the Sun and sometimes it is farther away. This affects the amount of sunlight our planet receives. When the Earth is closer to the Sun, it receives more sunlight. This causes the Earth to warm up. When the Earth is farther away from the Sun, it receives less sunlight. This causes the Earth to cool down. The shape of the Earth's orbit changes over time due to the gravitational pull of other planets. This change is called eccentricity. Eccentricity varies from 0.000055 to 0.0679 over a period of 100,000 years. The current value of eccentricity is 0.0167. This means that the Earth is currently closer to the Sun than it has been in the past and will be in the future. This is one of the reasons why our planet is currently going through an interglacial period. The second reason is the Earth's axial tilt. The Earth's axis is not perfectly straight. It is tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees. This tilt causes different parts of the Earth to be closer or farther from the Sun during different times of the year. When the Earth's axial tilt is pointing towards the Sun, it is summer in that hemisphere. When the axial tilt is pointing away from the Sun, it is winter in that hemisphere. The axial tilt also affects how much sunlight each hemisphere receives during the year. When the axial tilt is pointing towards the Sun, one hemisphere will receive more sunlight than usual while the other hemisphere will receive less sunlight than usual. The amount of sunlight each hemisphere receives affects the temperatures in those regions. When one hemisphere is receiving more sunlight than usual, it will be warmer. When one hemisphere is receiving less sunlight than usual, it will be cooler. The axial tilt varies between 22.1 and 24.5 degrees over a 41,000-year period. The current value of the axial tilt is 23.44 degrees. This means that the Earth's axial tilt is pointing towards the Sun right now. This is why we are currently experiencing an interglacial period. The third reason for our current interglacial period is precession. Precession is the wobbling of the Earth's axis. It occurs because the Earth is not a perfect sphere. It is slightly flattened at the poles. This flattened shape causes the Earth's axis to wobble like a top. The Earth completes one wobble every 26,000 years. Precession affects the amount of sunlight each hemisphere receives during different times of the year. When the Earth's axial tilt is pointing towards the Sun, it is summer in that hemisphere. When the axial tilt is pointing away from the Sun, it is winter in that hemisphere. The amount of sunlight each hemisphere receives affects the temperatures in those regions. When one hemisphere is receiving more sunlight than usual, it will be warmer. When one hemisphere is receiving less sunlight than usual, it will be cooler. Right now, the Earth's axial tilt is pointing towards the Sun. This is why we are currently experiencing an interglacial period. The Milankovitch cycles explain the cause of global warming as natural. The Earth goes through these cycles regardless of human activity. Humans are not causing global warming according to him. Mother Earth is just going through her natural cycles. The intention of this story was to introduce you to a different point of view of global warming. His theory seems to make sense to me. Here is an interesting piece of information. Ancient texts and manuscripts from India, Egypt, China, Middle America, and more talk about the sun rising from where it set a few times in the past. The Holy Quran also has verses confirming this. The origins of the Atlantis story is Plato, who heard about it from his family, and it was Solon who was told the story during his time in ancient Egypt in the 6th century BCE. He was told that Hellenes were a young culture and they do not remember the glories and stories of the forgotten past when there used to be a continent far off the Pillars of Hercules. Solon also heard from the religious leaders of Egypt that Earth has many cycles which all end with a massive natural phenomenon. Mayas and Incas also talk about such long cycles of Earth. Our science is young, it is only 500 years old. Most of the game-changing scientific research has around 200 years of history. We do not have detailed records for more than several thousands of years. The rest is only a collection of tales and myths from all around the world. That is, it will be arrogant to say that we know all about ourselves and Mother Earth. Mother Earth might be going through some natural cycles we have not seen or recorded before. Even beyond that, the journey of our solar system in the Milky Way might have even different bigger cosmic cycles which could affect the climate too. The photon belt theory, which is commonly used by the spiritualists, New Age fans, and new occultists, could be one of such cosmic cycles. There are also some scientific data which could lead to the discovery of the photon belt. It is time to end this story. Just something to think about. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. With love.